Earlier, I spoke with New Mexico Democratic Congresswoman Teresa Leger Fernández, who had pushed for Congressman Swalwell and Gonzales to step down or actually be expelled from Congress. Here is that conversation. Congresswoman Eric Swalwell has resigned. Republican Congressman Tony Gonzales will resign effective tonight. Had they not, would they have been expelled, in your opinion?
I do think that we had the votes to expel him. And more importantly, I do not think they would have resigned if we had not intended to bring the resolutions to expel him. So today was a result of not just what Representative Luna and I were doing, but also the courageous activism and courage of the women who were willing to break the silence and describe what had happened to them.
Do you believe there will be either in the coming days more resignations or continued efforts to seek expulsion of other members of Congress?
I have been focused on the sexual harassment and abuse charges against Representative Gonzales, who, as you know, admitted to the sexual transgression 6 weeks ago, and there had been no action taken, which is why I was motivated to bring the motion to expel, because Speaker Johnson could not control that privilege motion. We could force a vote on it. I think Representative Luna was doing the same thing. And with regards to the other members, that process is ongoing, and I think there is going to be a ethics committee recommendation forthcoming.
This afternoon, Representative Ro Khanna of California was giving a speech, and he talked to reporters afterwards, and he talked about what he described as an Epstein class. He said, elites who choose being part of a network instead of speaking up against the abuse of young girls. That's a broad statement about Jeffrey Epstein and those around him, but there's also been a conversation this week that within the corridors of the Capitol, there were rumors about Eric Swalwell, and people that should have known or did know didn't say anything and left it to the victims to bring this to the public's attention. Do you have any comment on that?
The reason why Americans are outraged with regards to what happened with the Epstein survivors and Epstein and his co-conspirators is we are sick and tired of the rich and powerful being able to get away with using and abusing women. We are sick and tired of the rich and powerful controlling our lives. And so I believe that the need to bring both Gonzales as well as Swalwell to the floor of the House represents our willingness to act in this moment, especially in that context. Remember, the reason we have the provision in the Code of Conduct is because of the Me Too movement. And I want to call out the former DWC chair, Representative Jackie Spear, because on a bipartisan basis, she pushed for us to include this in our Code of Conduct in 2018 after a spate of sexual abuse charges and resignations in 2017.
Right. And so Eric Swalwell, it now is clear, was acting in a potentially predatory fashion against staffers who worked for him. That would be an absolute violation of that code. And if people around the Capitol acting in a sort of clubby and defensive way didn't say anything about it, isn't that itself a problem?
That is a problem if that is indeed the case. I hadn't heard of that and of the allegations against Eric Swalwell until now. But it is disturbing when you look at the evidence that has been mounting that there were those who thought he was too flirty or other things. And that's the problem. That we need to protect our women staffers. We need to protect all of our staffers. And if we hadn't taken swift action now, I think our staff would have felt we weren't protecting them. And that's why I brought my resolution, which I did file, but also was willing to support the expulsion of Eric Swalwell, is we need to act when we hear this information. I can only tell you what I did with the information I had. And I was so angry that Speaker Johnson had not taken any action against Representative Tony Gonzales. He admitted to that sexual transgression 6 weeks ago. And people knew about what he had done for a long time as well. So let's always make sure we include Representative Tony Gonzales and the fact that the Republicans failed to call him on what he was doing. And there is a woman who is dead now. She committed suicide by setting herself aflame. And Speaker Johnson won't take any action in the House of Representatives. I will say that once the allegations broke with regards to Swalwell, there was strong condemnation by Democrats in leadership roles and here in the House.
New Mexico Democratic Congresswoman Teresa Leger Fernández, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so very much, Major.